Quickly give us an update. What does the property market in Uganda look like right now?
Oh, thank you, Michael. I mean, just you can imagine, property market tends to follow the economic cycles.
Of course.
From a macroeconomic point of view, if we're seeing growth in GDP figures, it means the market is doing substantially well. I mean, specifically looking at, say, the residential market, Centum, the development they're doing in Garuga, the Pearl Marina project, has gained a lot of traction in the last 3 months, with almost all the affordable products put out on the market being, taken up. So it demonstrates the fact that as far as Uganda is concerned, if you're to play within the residential space, there's huge opportunity within the affordable homes. And I think that has seen a lot of activity within that space, just within, the city, but even the suburbs. Yeah, that's what's happening on the residential side of things. On the retail side of things, I mean, yes, we've seen increasing number of international retailers, asking for opportunities within, Kampala and seeing how they can get into this market. Obviously, coming out of Nairobi, the likes of LC Waikiki are all looking out of space. So from a retail point of view, whereas we have quite a huge pipeline coming up in the next maybe 2 years, what is available right now is being tenanted. We're also seeing, property exchanging hands. Deal has just been concluded between Getaway Delta and one of the local retail owners who was just disposed of a shopping center. So there's quite some bit of, activity on the market, although I can't say it's at the levels that we would have wanted it to be.
Of course, I want us to drive back just a little bit to the Pearl Marina that is being constructed in Garuga, of course, by Centum that you mentioned. When you say affordable, what are we looking at? Of course, if you put in the back of the mind how a middle class in Uganda stands right now, how much does a person earns on annual salary? What does this mean, affordable housing in Uganda?
What we've used typically to define affordable homes in Uganda is anything within the $50,000 mark. Anything above that then becomes a middle-income housing, not affordable. So what Centum has done and Pearl Marina project is to come up with products of $30,000, $50,000, and these have gained quite a lot of traction because that's the right positioning. That's the product, and you have the critical mass falling within that. So even if you're to look at people's earnings vis-a-vis what they can afford from a mortgage point of view, if a house is priced within $50,000 and below, it tends to get a lot more, traction because then people starting to afford the, highly priced mortgages in Uganda.
All right. Tell me, though, analysts have come out to say that the real estate market could draw double-digit growth for the economy of Uganda midterm. Tell me, how do you see this happening?
Well, if you see what is happening in the sector itself, we now contribute about 9% of the GDP of Uganda. That's the real estate sector. And it's going to grow because there's a lot of money being pumped into infrastructure. New neighborhoods are opening up. We're attracting more sophisticated developers in this market. So we're likely to see it grow, although the returns, the underlying, return on investment might not fall from a dollar point of view. I don't see it going below 10%. But yeah, there's quite some bit of, stagnation in terms of returns, especially if you look at the residential side of things. Industrial retail is still doing well. Commercial office space, the returns have sort of stagnated for the last 1 year. So yeah,
are we seeing any government policies adjusting towards this?
Yeah, what government has done is to try as much as possible to, create an enabling environment for investors to come in. And we've seen, new players come into the cement industry, steel manufacturing. Yeah, all this because if you have the right policies in place, then you tend to attract foreign direct investment. And I think it's that, that we're seeing a lot more, inquiries, a lot more participation from international players into this sector.
Talk to me now just a little bit about, of course, that urban activity. We've, of course, seen a lot of development happening in Kampala and, of course, just as a few of the suburbs around the capital city. But do we see any effect on businesses or maybe, say, growth in businesses outside of the capital city?
Yes, Michael. I mean, if you see the retail, now the retail is getting into the suburban areas. I mean, you find clothing shops, your restaurants, all trying to open up within the suburbs because now more organized development is coming up. You have sort of congregation of communities, so you're able to sort of do a proper demographic study on a neighborhood and be able to say, yeah, I can place maybe a 10,000 square meter shopping center there and to trade well within that demographic. So with the opening up of infrastructure has certainly, paved way for more organized development within the suburbs and now attracting, sort of organized development from a retail point of view. So yes, the retailers are following the developments into the suburban areas, and we see a lot more growth in those areas in the medium to long term.
Can you certainly point out some of the aspects that we should see here contributing to growth on the performance for the sector moving forward into 2019?
I think the key driver has been more of the new infrastructure that's been put into place, opening up more neighborhoods. So when you have the roads, when you have the water, when you have the power brought into these neighborhoods, and getting more international developers coming, we've seen emergence of what we call mixed-use developments, particularly by our pension fund that are doing a major development in Novoa and Temangalo, and then the likes of Centum. So as these, large-scale mixed-use developments come in, they're definitely, contributing towards, the growth.
Moses, thank you for creating time to speak to us.